Hi everybody, it's Terry Ryder from Hotspotting. Pretty much every day in the media you're going to be seeing people forecasting what's going to happen to Australian real estate prices. Rather curiously, most of the people who are making the forecasts that pop up pretty much every day in our major newspapers and other forms of media are people who don't really have a great deal to do with residential real estate, but they like to pontificate about it. People like economists, for example, the ratings agencies like Standard & Poor's, Morgan's, all sorts of people who are sort of barely on the periphery of the residential property industry always want to predict what's going to happen to our real estate prices. And a clue that they really don't know what they're talking about is when they talk about Australia as a single market, when they forecast Australian property prices are going to rise X% in the next 12 months. It's a clue that they don't understand that we don't have a single market in Australia, that we have, in fact, many thousands of different markets all doing different things, some rising, some falling, some stagnating, some moving at a rapid rate and others moving at a very moderate rate. So the latest one to pop up in the Australian today, the Australian is always a great source of misinformation about residential real estate, and today was no exception when it quoted AMP Capital chief economist Shane Oliver on what he thought was going to happen to property prices this year in our major cities. Now he is predicting that he thinks that housing prices in Sydney and Melbourne are going to fall another 5% this year and even further next year. And that gives me a great deal of comfort because no one in the history of Australia has a worse track record of predicting what's going to happen with real estate prices than Shane Oliver from AMP Capital. He continually gets it wrong, spectacularly wrong usually, and I think he's going to be wrong with this as well. It's interesting that while he's predicting quite substantial falls in prices in our two biggest cities, just in the last week or so we've had ANZ Bank and also CoreLogic suggesting that they think that the recent decline in prices in our two biggest cities is pretty much run its course and prices are going to start rising again. I actually think they're all wrong. I don't think, I think the correction, the minor correction that we're starting to see in house prices in Sydney and Melbourne is going to continue for a while longer. That would be normal after 3 or 4 years of substantial rises, but I don't think we're going to see prices falling to the level that Shane Oliver is predicting. But economists and others love to fill up our media airways with their predictions about what's going to happen to the Australian property market. I'm interested to know what you think about all that, and tomorrow night is going to be another of my live Q&A sessions when you have the opportunity to tune in to my Facebook broadcast and give me your questions and your comments. And for an hour or an hour and a half, however long the questions keep coming in, I'll be there doing my level best to answer your questions and to react to your comments. Whether you want to talk about what's happening with prices, a lot of people, it seems, like to talk about specific locations. They want to know what's happening in a location where they might own real estate already, or a place where they're thinking of buying something. Whatever your questions happen to be, tune in tomorrow evening for the live Q&A. It starts in the eastern states. It's 7:30 p.m. In South Australia, Northern Territory, that'll be 7 p.m. and in Western Australia, that'll be 5:30 p.m. So live Q&A session. You have the ability to type in your questions. They'll pop up on the screen. I'll do my best to answer whatever they happen to be. Questions about issues in real estate or about specific locations you might be interested in getting my views on. So don't miss that tomorrow night, Wednesday, 11th of April, starting at 7:30 in the eastern states. So I look forward to your participation, and I hope you're able to find the time to participate and hopefully get some of your questions answered. That's it for now. Terry Ryder from Hotspotting, signing off until tomorrow evening's Q&A session. Talk to you then.